Well, we're going to have some fun this afternoon. We're going to talk about fun, entertaining things. I'm sure you're having a wonderful day today, everyone? Okay. Well, I'm just going to show you what went into today. It's been a lot of planning, almost a year in the planning. I've worked on almost, I think, all of the events leading up to this one, bringing their concept and their brochure to life. So this was the concept. You all saw this. We'll talk about this one a little bit. So my job was to create all the rooms you've been in and downstairs, the lobbies, the artwork, the staging, everything, to bring this to life. They come with a concept to me, and then I bring the event to life. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about how you come up with themes, what you can do to use things around the house, what's on trend, what you might have not thought to use, and anytime along the way, raise your hand, ask questions. I want to make it informal and fun, okay? I have been a designer for 30-some years, I think. I'm a member of the American Institute of Floral Design, a past national president. I'm also a fellow, which is the highest honor. There are 22 of us in the United States. So I was given that honor about 8 years ago. I was the president of the national group. I'm currently a foundation CEO for scholarships and stuff in education in the floral industry. I travel all around. I had a store for many years in Redlands for like 10, 15 years called Derrick & Company. I do a lot of the Loma galas. I do the galas. I've done the cooking schools. I've done a lot of different, demonstrations and things like that. So my job was today is when Beverly asked me, she says, I want something artistic. I want something different. I want to have some fun. Let people know, because they're always asking, how do these events come to fruition? So I said, well, let's talk about things and talk about trends. So what we're going to do today is, first of all, we're going to start up here, and we're going to start with, like I said, the brochure. Speaking of women's health. So this was the color palette, and you noticed, as in fashion, as in everything with the homes and everything, it's all about patterns. It's about what you see. Some of the things you would have never thought to put together, but yet it's a piece of fabric, it's a piece of something that ties it all in together. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you whether it's an arrangement that can bring out colors, whether it's a lamp, it's a pillow, it's a candle, it's from as simple as a napkin can tell a story, and you can bring it to life. So there's things that we all visually see, and we want to do is we want that feeling at our party or in our home or for entertaining or just for ourselves. We don't have to have a party. We can have a beautiful home. We can have a beautiful setting just for us to enjoy. It's most important, the atmosphere and the feeling that you put within your home or within your event. Because you can go somewhere and it can be awful food, it can be awful this, whatever, but it was so beautiful you don't even remember that. Or your home, everybody loves the holidays because everything is glittery and glitzy and wonderful and you feel so good about everything. And then it's all down in what's January? Dreary. It looks so sad outside, it's so dreary. And how many red hearts can you put up? It's like hearts, 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 and then here comes the Easter Bunny right behind. They're already in the stores. There's eggs everywhere, rabbits everywhere. It's just getting faster and faster and faster, the cycles. But there are a lot of things that transition so that you don't have to invest and necessarily always, put so much into it. You get pieces and you transition them through the year, you transition them through the seasons as well. So what I'm going to do is, I've talked a little about this. There are different looks that are going on right now. There's that, what we used to call shabby chic, what we used to call the blue, we used to call the Asian Oriental stuff. We used to do, every time it circles back around, it has a different name. It's rustic chic now. The color of remember the old mauve and burgundy? It's Marsala this year. Marsala is the color. That is the color. Everything, you're going to have people come in, I want Marsala. I said, you mean the old dusty rose and the old burgundy and wine? That's Marsala. It's right over there. But it's so much more glamorous as Marsala. So what I've done is I'm going to start down here, and hopefully the sound doesn't get lost here. We're influenced by home and garden, everything. one of the most interesting ways to learn and to get things is going to like a Home Depot or Lowe's or something, because we all get inspired within the home. We see furniture, we see things. So I always like to go and look at the paint chips, look at the fashion magazines, look and see. They're telling you, okay, if you're into blue, these are the blue styles, colors, muted, shaded. Used to be flat, shiny, glossy, all that stuff before, remember? Now everything has such a sensuous, romantic name to everything that, everything's wonderful. Oh, I want that Persian blue. Oh, I want that peacock blue. It used to be baby blue, blue, and blue. But now it's all about the names and everything. So with these and stuff, so what I thought is, we're influenced by furnishing and design. So with this first section here, I wanted to show is what used to be just, your ceramic blues and stuff like that. But you're seeing pattern upon pattern. The busier the pattern, things you wouldn't necessarily put together are being put together. For instance, would you have ever thought to put this kind of a cloth with that? No, we would have probably put some plain, simple. But what's wrong with it? All you ladies dress beautifully and in fashion. Sometimes you wear things you're like, just think if you had separated those colors, what would have happened? Or those fabrics. Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to mix things. Flowers always are beautiful. You're seeing a lot of garden feels, like the kales. Used to be the old cabbage, kales, all that stuff. All you thought about was eating it. But now it's very chic in arrangements. Those succulents we used to grow all over our yards and stuff like that, they're fab. They're in. They're going to be with Marcella everywhere. But it's garden chic now. It's not just succulents out of the grass. Those mason jars used to do filling and everything. Now they're chic because you can fill them with drinks, you can fill them with water, with candles, with petals, with everything. They come in all the designer colors now. So those were the old mason jars. We used to put jam and pickles and everything in, but not anymore. And it's so chic to go to a fancy party and drink out of the jars. Before it was like, that's all we had. We were so poor. We drank out of jars, but not now. It's chic. You see things like this, patterns. You'll go and you see a thing like this. It's just a tray. The simple tray can just bring this together. The hydrangeas, the deeper blues and stuff. These are just squares that can be picture frames. They can be laid on the floor. They can be laid on a table. And then to just throw a little twist on it, if you want a little pewter, a little glitter, or maybe you want something to just give it a little sheen. Look at just little mirrors. Just laying little mirrors on. A lot of times you can use these and put them at each place setting. You can write with like lipstick, or you can write with those markers and stuff. They're erasable. On the mirrors, they're place setting things. You can put them on a plate. And my good friends from the South say you're never gossiping when you look into a mirror and talk to a mirror. That's not considered gossiping. You're talking to the mirror. So I always like to use mirrors because I thought it was the most funniest thing. He says, I'm not gossiping. So he pulls down the mirror in the car, looks at it, and is talking to the mirror. He said, I didn't gossip. I talked to the mirror. So I always remember that. I always think that was just hilarious. You also see things with home fragrances with different textures, potpourris and stuff like that. See, this has all that stuff too. Don't be afraid to put it in a jar, put it in a bag, put it with candles, spread it on the table. A lot of times just pillows. Pillows is an easy way to just accessorize an event, a party with whatever. I found this pillow. And I just thought, it reminded me of the mirrors. It had that look. It could have an Asian. It could have a contemporary. I can do lots with it. But you can just throw a few of these pillows down, a tablecloth, anything like that, and it's instant. It's just a pop of color. A bird cage. We all had those bird cages and stuff like that. I always say, don't be afraid of paint. Just spray it. Well, in this case, it's white. You could have sprayed it the blue. Could have done anything. Throw flowers and petals in it. We don't want birds and making all that mess all over the place and stuff like that. Or get butterflies. Butterflies are big. You can put butterflies everywhere. Lay it on the table. Put a candle. It can be a centerpiece. In this case, too, I wanted a lamp effect, but I wanted flowers. But I didn't really have a lamp, so I just took a vase, turned the lampshade upside down on top of it, and then just, what you do is just, basically it's a vase if I want an arrangement. If not, I just took a lampshade, turn it upside down, put it on top, drop a few stems of flowers or whatever right down the middle, and then I have a container. Then I have a different look. It's pop-up. A lot of times you can do that with a glass jar, a big tall cylinder. Fill it with stuff. Put a lampshade on it. Put some glow things in it. It's very chic. It's so designer. You've done it. But as you look, then all of a sudden the transition comes. Then there's this. I saw this and I just thought, peacock, blues, lavenders. But look at the textures of the blues. Look at. Before we used to be always about matching everything. Everything had to match. Everything had to be exactly. Oh, if one thing's off. We all remember the weddings. Everything has to be dusty rose. Or you remember Steel Magnolias, the pretty, blush and bashful. Yeah, so in that case, but in this case, you see the difference in the blues and stuff. So with this, I wanted to bring this to life. I chose a linen. By the way, all these linens that are here being used are Raquel's linens. They're in Colton. They have the most fabulous linens. They do events for every day, and all this stuff is from them, and they were gracious enough to loan us all this today to show some of the things on trend. But once again, here it is in the home, telling you about color, what you should feel. This tells you what you're doing. Whether we believe it or not, when we go through stores, when we go through furniture stores, when we go through fashion, it is all dictated to us. We know 2 years out what is going to be colors, what's going to be hot. There is a board that has paints, fashion, design, everything. It's the color board. They decide what is going to be Marcella. They decide what, last year, I have a few of them here, and I'll show you. This is just from last year. I wanted to show you how we get these things, and it comes out. Garden Club. To me, that used to be mix and match and patch quilt. But it's Garden Club. Do you remember the old jars and Americana and all that stuff, and moose's heads and tin cans and everything else? It's called Rule Route. So much more trendy, huh? Then there is, remember we used to do the seashells and we used to throw some nets and hooks and everything? Sea to shining sea. So it goes from mauves to blues to all that color. You see it in fashion, you see it in flowers, you see it in everything. You're going to see a big, even bigger, you've already seen it with the succulents and things like that, but you'll see even more of it because that whole look. Nobody can kill a succulent. Has anybody ever killed a succulent? What'd you do, water it? You don't water those. I love you just cut them off and throw them on the ground. They take off. And they're just everywhere. And then the other old patch and all the flowers and everything, American Gypsy. What was that? A succulent is, it's a cactus, but it's a little blossom, and I have some over here that I'll show you. These are some artificial because you see them everywhere. There's all varieties, but this is what they look like. Remember these? They're not weeds. They're very chic. They're very expensive now. So this is a succulent. Now, if you ever are going by somewhere and you happen not to have one, you just pick one up and it accidentally falls on your ground outside your home, you'll have them everywhere in no time at all. And it'll be replaced, that hole wherever you took it. It'll fill right back up instantly, so you don't have to worry about feeling bad. But anyway, so back to what I was saying about this. We used a collection of glass, different shades again. You notice we're playing up. The butterflies, peacocks. Peacocks are another thing that's huge, huge right now. Peacocks, butterflies, you're seeing them everywhere. You saw it at Christmas, you're seeing it. Don't be afraid to introduce it and bring it in with other colors. You could take it into a purple tone. You could take it into a green. You could just accent lightly. Your whole home could be in whites, and you could still use it, and it would still work. So don't be afraid to look at these things and try them. Even the plain pot here, just a few flowers, just globbed. The thing is, we don't want things to look like they were arranged. We don't want a big old bow on top of it. We don't want, before it was like if it didn't have all that baby's breath and everything all through it. Flowers should look like they belong. They're soothing. They just should look like, they're just like you just went out, like Martha Stewart and everybody else just goes out to the garden and cuts everything and makes a table look beautiful and then whips out this meal and then it looks fabulous for dinner. We've all seen that. She has been great for the industry for many years, but it's like some of those things are just a little bit too much. They're impossible. I look at them, I'm like, that Lily of the Valley bouquet that she just gathered together is $300 wholesale. But she just tells the bride the morning of the wedding, go buy Lily of the Valley, tie it with a ribbon, and carry it. Well, if that's not in water within an hour, it's all dead. And it's just like there's some things that just aren't all there. So you have to a lot of times take things and do a little research on them, make sure that they last and stuff. Okay, so then it came over here. Then I wanted the ocean and stuff like that, but I wanted it to appear like it was water or something. So most people are like, I would have never put a fish net with a white iridescent sequin tablecloth. But I wanted it to be evening. We all are hooked on all the housewife parties, right? Beverly Hills housewife, Atlanta housewife, Miami, all these parties, and everybody's these white parties and all this stuff. But if you look, they're all using unusual treatments and unusual techniques together. So what I wanted it to appear like it was the ocean. This is going to take place at night. We could just use lots of candles, simple things to accessorize, like a charger, a few shells just tossed around. We all have a few ropes around that we've tied our kids up or anything like that with that we can just take and just straggle along the table. Now, if I wanted to go into with a little bit of a blue, you take some fish and put it on a jar. You could just drop a blossom. It could just be a bottle. It could just be a candle. It can be whatever. Just a little bit of that to pick up that rustic look. We've seen the candles accessorized with a shell or something like that. Lots of candles are easy. Just lots of color. And if we don't, just get a few silks, a little tin, just drop them in nice and tight. It's better to be tight component. There's nothing worse than having 3 flowers and you put one over here, one over here, and one over here. It looks like an eyeball going every different directions. If you want the greatest impact, and you're going to see in most of the designs, the colors are grouped. Impact is stronger. Unless you're doing something that's just absolutely huge and you want a lot of color, but even in that set of design, you want it grouped because your impact and your eye will go to it. You should always squint and say, okay, I can see that, I can see that, I can see that. And that's the beauty of when you color. Now, you all have those old crochet things you used to do? Well, now they have a use. They're doing them as pot covers. So you remember those round doilies? All they do is dip it into the solution processes, flip it over a pot, let it dry. My grandma used to make those things to go over the toilet paper rolls on the bathroom that she used to crochet. Or we'd get these hats and gloves every Christmas. They're like, we have to wear that, Mom? But she used to love to make those dolls and stuff. When I saw this, I was like, oh my God, my grandma's still living. But it's chic again. All what's old is chic now again. So, and over here, I just took the mason jar, dropped a hydrangea blossom. This is something you can do. Some shells, those mason jars again. One blossom in there. But just look how simple. It can be elegant. Some with nothing. This could just have a floating candle on it. Just some shells and some water. And then I took, just rustic basket with some hydrangeas. This is silk, but it looks so real. The permanent botanicals now are so incredible, you can get away with it. I mix silk and fresh everywhere all the time because there's something like this could never look this gorgeous, although the fragrance is the only thing missing. But it could never look this gorgeous and that much. You can always use a lot of silk and then plop in a few fresh fragrance. I don't know if you noticed the fragrance in the room when you went down, the paper white narcissus. Those are my absolute favorite. I love that fragrance. Just a little bit of fragrance can go a long way with the design. And then, here was another one. Took some of that rope, just tied it around the vase. Now, I cut these all at the same level last night. And I don't know if you ever worked with tulips before, but when you cut tulips all at one length and you put them in, then the next morning, this is what they do. They continue to grow. By tomorrow, they'll be out to here. By Sunday, they'll be out to here. So you recut, bring them down, or you cut them shorter and let them grow. I love a tall vase and just let them go wild. But they're all firm. They're not wilted. But just let them go natural. They just do all kinds of fun stuff. There's shells in there. Very easy. Anybody could do this. And then there's some, once again, the play on the white, the taupes and everything in here within the interior. There's paints and shades telling you what color walls you should have, what's going to be the best look for you. Have you ever seen so many ivories and brushed ivories and whites in your life? But day spa, snow cloud, Edwardian lace, oriental silk, autumn glow, cottage white. I didn't know there was a difference in the cottage and the regular, but antique white, sweet peach, and spiced beige. Pewter vase, little bit of gray. That used to happen when the white paint got a little dirty and it was considered gray. Now it's pewter vase. What you do with fabrics, what you do with everything. I just love this fabric. You saw it here. That's the eggshell. This is the white. But a lot of times getting pieces of fabrics and just having them, and you can do stuff with them. You can tie them. You can wad them on tables. You can do a lot of stuff with them. But they can give you so many looks. This could be very foo-foo. It could be very casual, very fun. There's just a lot of stuff. So don't be afraid to mix fabric. And every tablecloth and every napkin doesn't have to be the same. As you see, it's most chic when the dishes don't match. The chairs don't match. The silverware doesn't match. That's chic. Okay? All righty. So now we're going to go up here again. So in the event, because we had a lot of space here, we need to use balloons. And I like to use balloons. But I like to use balloons differently. I don't necessarily like to use balloon. You know, everybody thinks, oh, balloon bouquet, mylar here, that and that, you know. I'll have some of my best clients, I'll say, I want to use balloons. And they're like, you want what? You've lost your mind. I said, no, just hear me out. I asked my balloon designer, which the ones that you saw all down the halls and everything. First of all, in this place, so everything you saw and everything you saw suspended, we're not allowed to use helium in the convention center. So everything had to be done with air and magnets and tying things and roping things so that we could get the appearance that they were floating and the appearance that they were hanging. So that's an artist. And that's Balloon Promotions that worked with me out of Grand Terrace. They did fabulous work. And the big pom-pom things, and I want them to look like big spider mums up in the ceiling. The columns, they can be very elegant with all the twists and turns. I asked her to make me a little one here because I just wanted to show how the color could make it pop. It's what helped us around the room in the big room. I had the lights in front of the trees because I wanted the walls shaded so that you could see. So it looked like an enchanted garden and stuff like that. So I wanted the shadowing. I wanted depth. There's nothing worse than walking in a room and everything's right here. No, you want depth in anything you do so that as you see, the further you look into it, the more beauty you see. You find little things here. You grab color, you bunch it, you do that. The carpet tied it in because the carpet was the framing. That drew your eye all around the tables. The stage, we popped it out with the big silhouette because it was about the women, the mind, the thinking green, and the floral. I wanted to do is, my version was to bring those heads to life. So what I did was silk. You could do it fresh. Just took some simple, first of all, I put a ball because I don't like anything to be flat or normal. So I glued it on a moss ball because I'm into building things. And you take a good old wig head. Those of you that wear hair pieces and stuff like that, you're familiar with those styrofoam heads or hat things. You can do a lot with them. You can use paints and stuff. You can give them textures. But I wanted to bring that to life. I wanted to do something that was going to say it's about the mentality, the woman, the beauty of the flowers, the beauty of the mind, the way to express yourself, that it is all within. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to do it down here because I think there's nothing more beautiful. I just absolutely loved this design for the creator that created it, and I just wanted to bring it to life. But at the same time, then, we went through and we started back like everything else with colors, color samples, color chips. There wasn't just any green. We had to use different kinds of greens. So with linens and stuff like that, and once again, playing off of the brochure, you can see I used the aquas, the teals, Tiffany, as it's called, because there's teal, there's Tiffany, there's turquoise, there's everything. Do you all know the difference between turquoise and Tiffany and aqua? It used to be all aqua before. Remember, your teal always has more blue. Your aqua has more green. Your Tiffany, because of the famous Tiffany box, you always use Tiffany as the name because that just adds the dollar signs to everything. Everybody loves those little boxes, don't they? You know something good's coming out of that. So it's Tiffany. My wedding, my party is going to be Tiffany and platinum. It just already screams So I thought we'd accent with a charger. Very simple, very inexpensive. Before these used to be, now you can get them for $1, $2. You can put candles on them. You can change them out for every event. You can do whatever you want with them. They're so much fun. Of course, I got a little bit of the guest towels because I thought, oh, we're going to play with some feathers and stuff. I might put these out. Or if maybe it was something that was nice paper plates and stuff. You could use them as napkins, little diaries. I did some vases and stuff, just some silks. Once again, this is more of a turquoise green on the glass, but interesting shapes. Don't be afraid to mix shapes. You notice none of the containers are hardly matching because it's better looking, it's more collective, they're different heights, they're different things. But what you do see is the grouping of flowers. If they had all been mixed, it wouldn't have the impact that it has by them being grouped. You see the whole group of the sweet peas off to the right side, and the orchids coming out to the other side. I'll show you after over there a little way to do some of that. So once again, there was these little books. Over here, I took a candlestick back here. And just took a moss ball, stick it on top. Mosses are hot. You just take and glue a few blossoms, or you could take fresh blossoms, use straight pins, and just pin them right into the ball. You could use these balls over and over and over. Take some blossoms. We could take, very easily, we could have taken some stock blossoms. Wonderful stock blossom, very fragrant, and everybody's always saying, oh, it smells like a funeral. No, funerals smell like flowers. Flowers don't smell like funerals, okay? Because everybody always smells, oh, it's a funeral. No, it's stock. Poor stock has gotten the bad rap for so many years because this is what's equated with people thinking this is what a funeral smells like. But it is beautiful stock. It comes in a lot of colors. But you can just take the blossoms off. You could just pin them on. You could cover the whole ball. You could do things. But a great, great way. I like to just take and just pull them off and just sprinkle them all over the tables and stuff, like confetti. It just pops the table. It just does that. You all remember these? A lot of people are like, oh, remember those big old triangle fan arrangements with a big old bow in the middle? They got a bad rap for so many years too. Gladiolas can be absolutely beautiful, and I love the green. Just dropped in a vase, just with some stones or whatever. I like to do, and what I was doing up here is take and don't be afraid to weave them into the balloons and stuff. There's no reason why you can't continue the lines or continue to stick and incorporate. So you can see that we can very easily add and make those balloons elegant. We even did the little globs. These are little globs. These are an extension of the party, extension of the table. Just make these up with a little air, tie them around, throw them around. If there's kids coming to the party, they'll entertain themselves for hours on the floor. If not, they'll be up on the table trying to get that down. So it's best to have a few of these thrown around. And then again, I'm not into dyed flowers, but you're seeing this look a lot. Because of all that peacock and that influence of that, they're dyeing the orchids into the color, so you're seeing it pick up that blue. These are about the only ones that I really like, because I'm not into dye. I grew up when they used to spray everything, and those pretty blue carnations and all that pretty stuff. I've been through that. I like natural stuff. The Lisianthus, look at the blossoms. They just look like big cabbage flowers. Very tight. There used to be where everything had to be balanced. Now you can clump and you can go off. Just use the flowers in their natural form. You can always mix silks. If you don't know what to do, just wad them up, tuck them in, and they'll look beautiful. Once again, the linen is screaming and telling you the whole story. The linen just says, wow, look at me. There's a lot of people who wouldn't mind having a dress made out of that fabric. Well, there you go. Over here, I used foliages. I did these in silks. This is just plants, just up there for elevation. Maybe you're doing a buffet. Maybe you're doing an entry. There's nothing wrong with just foliages. Once again, a couple of stems of orchids just wrapped around the ball, tucked in a moss container. Once again, picking up the green here, just to give a different shape. Rounds, talls. Over here, you'll see that the design is made in. All the tight color is down close so that it emphasizes the orchid. You see the lavenders at the base that pop the orchids coming up? You see the green orchids just sort of coming, just sort of framing you have the size, but instead of it being a big fan, you have a lot of depth and things. As you look into the design, you're seeing all the different interesting aspects that are happening with it. And then on the side, you just bring some of the orchids trailing over so that it just spills, it just splashes, it just reeks. I always say it just reeks money and just fab. So I also did a lot of foam cutouts and stuff in there. If you're very crafty and you're very good, I'm not, so I just have it hired and done. But I could never have the patience to sit there and cut this stuff out. But all those silhouettes and stuff we had in the ceiling, all those butterflies, we custom made all of those. The butterfly is how we started over there on foam board. Then we brushed, they had glittered. You can flower petal, you can do all those. You can hang them, you can do whatever. All that stuff that you saw in the ballroom for lunch and for the morning session, everything that hung in there is hanging from magnets. So there are magnets that'll hold up to 50 pounds. The old way, we used to have to go up with a lift, tie everything to a column or something everywhere. Use fishing line, which you didn't see, so they just looked like they were floating up there. But there was a lift, they went up and just dropped magnets. So when they're tearing it down today, all they're going to do is go bam, 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 pulling down everywhere. But you can do anywhere there's metal or any kind of tracks or anything in homes or wherever there's metal, you can take. And if you can always just use a regular magnet from the hardware store with a ring or something, and you watch, it sticks to things. For the holidays, you can hang things, you can do things, but really fun. So what we did with some of the designs, we cut out a foam board, just projected them and then paint them, and then you cut them out. So this is just a little sample. The butterfly is another one that you can see, just what we did with that. And then over here, I just did a little play on that again, once again, with the lighter shade of it. And I just wanted to talk about the floral trends for this year. One of the other colors that they're calling this over here is lapis luxury. So remember that, it's not blue and white, it's lapis luxury. When you have a lot of color and you don't know what to do, it's called kaleidoscope now. Kaleidoscope means blocks of color, bright and everything, every shape and every size, okay? When we used eclectic and we didn't have one kind of container and everything, and we had your tin, your glass, your burlap, your terracotta, it's now the modern garden. What's old is new again, remember. And then when we also mix it all up and we had those heavy dark colors and stuff like that, that's called bringing it home. Yep. So with those few tips on that, that's how we get our party started. So now what I want to do is, let's see, okay, we're going to move down this way. I got to keep track of my time because I have a tend to talk and talk and talk, and then they're like, your time's up. Over here, right now after the holidays especially, we all want color. We want something warm. Look at how lush those colors are. Aren't they beautiful? Once again, you see dishes, you see everything, so this is telling you what you want. But you're like, I can't go and change my whole house overnight. You know, you can introduce pieces. Maybe you were in the softer, muted Muslims and stuff like that, and you want to maybe add some of the colors or, you know. Now, what we used to call burlap, oh, no. There's all these fancy polished burlaps. They come in a taupey color. They come in a navel orange. They come in a sandalwood. This used to be burlap when I was growing up, and it's rolled out on the table. That's what we grew up with, burlap. But now, no. It's all about these. And this is only one of about 8 colors like this that you'll see. Once again, I took a plunge of orange and stuff to bring the tablescape to life because I wanted that pop of color. I love looking at things. I wouldn't be so bold to do the orange walls, but there's a lot of people that just have a wall and they just change and change and change, and it's cool, but I think you can always do a lot of it with a lot of the accessories. But hey, it's just paint. If you don't like it, you just paint right over it and just do something again. But it can sure add a lot of life. Terracotta pots have been around forever. Now they're just taken and laying and just falling over on the table with pebbles, with succulents just dropped out of them, with rocks, bark, fruit, you know. Used to be just a pot falling over. Now you throw a few lemons and a lime and an orange. It's chic. It's citrus harvest on the table. You can always take a few flowers. Look at this rose. Is this not gorgeous? That is a fresh rose. Just you can take from your garden. You can take whatever. Chop a few, drop a few low in a pot. I use this little 3-tier thing because we buy a lot of things like that, or we have them at home for something that we might want to use. But why not put some fruit? Use it as a decorative piece. Put little pots. Just move things around. Don't be afraid to change things. I put a little artificial succulents up here, one down there. I threw a few pots, a few artificial oranges. Just look at how chic that is. Citrus chic. Little watering can. Galvanized, but now they're painting a lot of them. It's more trendy to have the hot oranges, the reds, and everything. Even the tomato cages. Have you been to Home Depot? You can get them in 8 different colors now. Now your garden can be coordinated even. You can get them in orange, you can get them turquoise, you can get them green. I love to turn those upside down and do all kinds of fun stuff with them. They're the best things. But yeah, I love the colored tomato cages now that you'll see. But those would be fabulous on the table too. This is just a grouping of spray roses. Once again, a few little berries and stuff. But once again, we're not arranging. We're chopping and dropping. Chop, drop, chop, drop. This one I wanted artificial. Just took a couple of silk plants, chopped them up, a couple of things, just dropped them in the thing, all wadded together. Very unarranged, but very chic looking. I love this glass. This glass could be used fresh, whatever. Pull it out, throw some oranges, or serve orange juice. What a beautiful, refreshing. The color just says alive, happy, I want to have fun. This color just makes you smile. Everybody's smiling right now because this color does that. It radiates. Color radiates. So if you want to have a party and you want everybody to be smiling, bring those bright colors. You want everybody to be frowning, put that gray out there. And another thing is use tall candles. You never want tall candles for a lady because that shadows down on their eyes. And all the bags and everything are accentuated. So if you want to invite somebody over that you really want to show their age, use tall candles. Because the shadowing will come down. So it's a no-no, okay? The bottles and stuff, we just got a bunch of bottles, different ones, collect them. Took a little twine, wound them around. These are silk stems. There are some over here that I did, and you can just take and do a long tablescape. You can do groupings. You can do whatever you want with them. I did over here, silks. I did fresh, just a sunflower and a sprig of grass, but look it. You could do them all down a table. You could do them. You could get these in clear. You can get them whatever. The twine is just, you could have your kids do the twine on there. You can't mess this up, okay? I just tossed a few lemons, a few limes, unrolled a roll of burlap that I just put on the table. Once again, as you see, exterior homes, hot colors. All this is in. But see, your home could be in the golds and you could make this pop. It could be in the greens, you could make it pop. It could even be in a brick color, you could make it pop. It could be in a yellow, it could be in a sand. So don't just think if your walls aren't orange, just think of all those colors I just named, how all those would work for you and that they would bring that color and give you that zap that you're looking for. Okay, here we are. The color of the year. Introducing Marsala. I'm going to give you the description of Marsala. You're going to see it with blue, and you're going to see it everywhere with fashion. It is a Pantone number, if you want to write that down so you are on trend, 18-1438, the color for 2015 Marsala. You've seen it with blues, you've seen it with browns, you've seen it with mauves. I have a lot of these things out here that I'm going to leave out here so you can come up and look at after. You know you've already started to recognize it in furnishings and in fashion, right? Without even knowing. You're just thinking, oh, there's that mauve and that burgundy thing again. It's Marsala. Tasteful hue of pomegranates, the tone of foxes, the tone of wine, or grape juice. I take that back. Or cranberry juice. Copper pans. The beautiful redheads will now be having shades of Marsala in their hair. So you're going to see even in hair. It's really funny because it goes fashion, it goes trend, it goes hair, it does flowers, it does everything. So you're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see it combined with browns. You're going to see it combined with different things. Even in food. Look at the food. Even now they're going to bring the fresh raspberries with blueberries on top of it to make it pop and then work with Marsala. Because Marsala is the thing. So don't get caught yourself get yourself caught calling it just that rose color or that thing. It is Marsala, Marsala. And so over here, I wanted to show you, because you're going to be seeing millions of versions of different tones with it. So everybody can't have the same Marsala tone. So let's have different tones so you all can pick different tones. Accent with different shades. You can accent this way, you can accent that way, you can accent with brown. You can even pop a brilliant red. Remember when this used to be Merlot? Well, with here, what I wanted to do is just show, it's just glass. Look at this orchid is going to be everywhere, the Cymbidium, because it is so close to Marsala. Your Ostromeria, these peonies, when they open up, they're more of a fuchsia color, but they're going to pop. What I started to do here with the design is I took these, if you ever worked with Cymbidiums, you know they last forever. You can take and design and lay a branch across. It's not in water, but for parties and stuff like that, you can just lay it in the water. And then you'll see the flowers are bunched up. Now, to make this pop and more, you can always take those lavenders or those, what was you saying? Instead of it all being out there with all that baby's breath like that, grab it together. Everybody can be a designer. Your hand, okay? Just bunch, and everything, when you don't know what to do, just grab it in groups, do it in groupings. See? You can just do groupings of flowers, tall, low. It's chic without foliage, it's chic with foliage. If you don't want any foliage, a lot of people prefer not, then you just chop everything off of it, take them close, and just once again, group them, stick them down deep. See the impact now? The colors are all popping all around. The same thing could be done over here with a thing of tulips. You can take it and bind them, cut them. I've done the stalk, but look, just be very simple. Groupings. You don't need to untie, just cut. Keep everything grouped. They're going to grow wild and they're going to be fun. You could take, the impact of roses once again too. A few of them, grab them together, impact, tighten them in close, bring your visual right down to it. But look, who would have done red, mauve, hot pink, orange, and Marsala together? But those little brochures told us it was okay. That blouse that you fell in love with, that jacket, that piece of furniture had it all going on in there. They told you it was okay. They told you, oh, it's okay. If you had walked out of your closet and put those clothes on with nothing else, tying it all in, they would have probably checked you in somewhere, right? Because it was like, I would have never, well, it's like for so long, you would never wear white at this time of year. Oh, no, it's winter, it's vintage, it's white, it's everything. So don't be afraid to go with color. Don't be afraid to touch these things. Once again, the linen brings it all up. All this stuff is bringing it all through within. And even sunflowers, just take them, chop them, lay them on the tables. Don't be afraid. Tie them in a napkin. There's just so many easy things. The thing is to be creative, challenge yourself, find something. I love going through we all love the bargain stores, right? We all do the Ross, we all do the Marshalls, we do Michael's, we do Hobby Lobby, we do Tuesday Morning, Home Good. I love that place. So I did that, and I just bought a few things, and I'm just like, okay. Had no idea what I was going to do. I love to just shop, and then I get home and I'm like, why did I buy all that? But there's a reason. There's a reason when I get it all together. Whether it was this that I found, whether it was the book, whether your client, or whether you have chosen an invitation or something that's going to say, this is what I want my party to be like, challenge yourself. Don't be afraid to use things. I hope you've enjoyed what I've done for you today, and I know the time has gone fast. I have brochures and stuff if you want to take a look at the color things. I have my card here. I'm a consultant if you ever have any questions or anything you'd like to know, right up here. And I thank you very much.